I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. As Donald Trump gets more and more desperate, he's making yet another stunning admission on his social media platform, bragging that MAGA is a cult. Of course, no large media networks are talking about it, other than the fact that MeidasTouch network did a story on it. I want to show you Donald Trump's posts, the lies, dangerous, disgusting statements that he's made. I want to compare them to what President Joe Biden is doing and saying as well. And I also want to make a broader point at the end of this video about how media networks are uplifting MAGA fascism on a daily basis with a recent example that I think you'll find very fascinating. And so here's the story that we ran on MeidasTouch.com that no other media covered. Trump shared article admitting MAGA followers are in a cult. And the article he shared on his social media platform says, "We are proudly in a cult of patriotism." Here's the article right here that he posted. It's from someone named Robin Itzler. It was, "Thank you to a very talented and savvy Robin Itzler and to American Thinker for this really interesting look at what is going on in the wonderful world of politics. A must read. This is a right-wing extremist paper masquerading as journalism that's then laundered through Donald Trump's social media platform." And as we mentioned on MeidasTouch.com, the article that Donald Trump shared calls a handful of Republicans running against Trump stupid and declares the MAGA base a, quote, cult of patriotism. Here's what it says. No Republican can win the nomination without the MAGA base. America First patriots stand with Donald Trump, just as we did in 2016 and 2020. These Republican elitists, along with Marxist Democrats, are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome and accuse us of being a cult of personality. What chutzpah. We are proudly in a cult of patriotism. So it says, how dare you call us in a cult of personality? We're in a cult, but it's a cult of patriotism. No, it isn't. It is performative cosplay fascism masquerading as patriotism and misappropriating the incredible symbols of our country, whether that's the Constitution or the flag, to justify unthinkable acts, dangerous and bizarre behavior, and uplifting an authoritarian wannabe in Donald Trump. That's not what real patriotism is. Real patriotism is actually doing things that advance the interest of the country. Real patriotism isn't cowering and supporting Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin and trying to destroy NATO and our alliances. Real patriotism isn't trying to rip apart and divide our country. No, patriotism is supporting our allies. Real patriotism is bringing our country together. Real patriotism isn't chanting the word freedom while taking away the freedom of Americans. Real patriotism is ensuring that Americans have the freedom, like women have the freedom over their own reproductive rights, and Americans have the freedom to marry who they love without MAGA Republicans getting in their doctors' rooms, getting in their bedrooms, and things like that. That's what real patriotism is. Here's Donald Trump's next post, all in caps. He writes, "Fantastic news for America, the great state of Utah, and for the Republican Party. Mitt Romney, sometimes referred to as Pierre Delecto, will not be seeking a second term in the U.S. Senate, where he did not serve with distinction. A big primary fight against him was in the offing, but now that will not be necessary. Congrats to all. Make America great again!" Exclamation point. And this is all in caps and just goes to show you the danger of the MAGA movement. Look, I disagree with Senator Romney on a lot of issues. Ultimately, I believe he is someone with integrity. I believe he is someone who's smart and thoughtful and compassionate and trying to be a problem solver. He's someone who can reach across the aisle. We can try to put aside some differences and forge compromises. That's what politics should be about, not the MAGA Republican nonsense of Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for secession, Lauren Boebert vaping and not even acting like a normal human being at a play, so she gets kicked out because her behavior is so outrageous, or these MAGA Republicans who wear AR-15 pins. More on that a little bit later in this video. And it just goes to show you that the MAGA Republican Party has purged from the Republican Party anyone who's normal, anyone with decency, anybody with integrity. The next post, Donald Trump spreads all of these lies about President Joe Biden in order to further encourage impeachment inquiry proceedings against President Biden. These were all inspired by Donald Trump. He told Marjorie Taylor Greene to get involved in this in the first place. He met with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then Kevin McCarthy listened, and that's why there is now an impeachment inquiry taking place of President Biden. Here are the lies being spread. Every one of them is debunked and just a total conspiracy, but here are the things that Donald Trump says. He goes, Republicans have a strong basis of an impeachment inquiry. First-hand witness Devin Archer has testified that Joe Biden was the brand being sold to foreign businesses, including being put on speakerphone multiple times. First off, what does that even mean? The brand being sold. And also Devin Archer, who is a convicted felon unrelated to Hunter Biden's interactions in terms of what he was convicted of, testified. And look, evidence matters. If Devin Archer said that President Biden was interfering in business dealings and using his position when he was the vice president, I would say that's evidence. That's not a good thing that would be in testimony. But Devin Archer said the opposite. Devin Archer said he's not aware of any incident where President Biden then Vice President Biden ever interfered in any business deal, period. Hunter Biden would call his father, and his father would never, ever discuss business on any phone call. That's what Devin Archer said. And to me, facts matter. And if the facts said what the conspiracy was, I'd be concerned. But that's simply not what the facts say. It says Joe Biden lied about his knowledge of Hunter Biden's business dealings, including taking money from China. Again, totally false. And Donald Trump has secret Chinese bank accounts. Donald Trump engaged in millions of dollars of deals with China that I think were actually treated as loans. He had a secret Chinese bank account. His daughter Ivanka got massive trademark benefits from China. And so it's all projection and confessions. Bank records show Biden family members and associates receiving millions from foreign countries. Seriously? First off, family members, are they private citizens, number one? Or are they people who had roles in the government, like, I don't know, say Jared Kushner, who received $3 billion of investment money from the Middle East, $2 billion from the Saudis, who said they were in his pocket, and then golf tournaments run by the Saudis are played at your golf course. So, I mean, again, all projection and confession. Here, Donald Trump speaking about projecting his fear, wants to post this to all of his followers. Primer on why the 14th Amendment Section 3 does not apply. It absolutely does apply, and there are 14th Amendment Section 3 cases being filed across the country, including one brought by Crew and others being brought by well-established groups now. We've been covering those here on the MeidasTouch network. Here, I want to read this. Donald Trump is spreading a 9/11 conspiracy theory. Here is Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene before the impeachment inquiry was launched. And then in the next one, again, I'll spare you from it. It's Donald Trump whining about the coverage of the New York Times. Wow, they're treating me bad. Wow, wow, wow. And then here, Donald Trump is saying, it's all happening even worse than anybody projected. President Vladimir Putin of Russia is using crooked Joe Biden's illegal banana republic-style treatment of his political opponent who is beating him badly in the polls to condemn America and all of the good things it once stood for. The whole world is watching as the USA is being torn apart by dreams of election interference. And the world's being watching as it's trying to be torn apart by Vladimir Putin's proxies like you and the other MAGA right-wing extremists who are doing his bidding. The fact that you think America and NATO care about the Russian disinformation that they are trying to spread to undermine our democracy just goes to show how much you are obsequious to Vladimir Putin, how much you do his bidding. Vladimir Putin, like you, is a wannabe strongman. If you want to see what real power is, what real strength is, and actually standing up to these dictators, take a look at what President Joe Biden and NATO and President Zelensky is doing. But of course, MAGA Republicans want to attack Ukraine, attack democracy, and uplift people like Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, and others. That's what Donald Trump is saying. What is President Joe Biden posting? He posts, unlike the last guy, I won't stop fighting to end gun violence. And President Biden does the split screen, kind of like what we do here. Biden signs the most sweeping gun reform bill in decades. Donald Trump conceded to the NRA. Trump abandons gun control promise. President Biden writes, 29 years ago, we passed the Violence Against Women Act, one of my proudest achievements in the years since. The law has saved countless lives and help change the culture around abuse and assault. We've made important progress, but we have more work to do building a society where everyone can thrive without fear and violence or abuse. President Biden writes, unions raise workers' incomes, increase home ownership, retirement savings, access to critical benefits like sick leave and childcare, and reduce inequality, all of which strengthen the American economy. He also writes, we're going to transition to an electric vehicle future made in America, and it will protect and expand good union jobs. Biden writes, we're mobilizing a whole country effort to cut Americans' cancer death rate by half in the next 25 years and boost support for patients and families. And it starts with a government-wide effort like this first ever cancer cabinet to unleash every asset in our power. There's more like this. Bidenomics is a blue-collar blueprint for America. It's for you. These are normal posts focusing on our economy, focusing on bringing Americans together, focusing on what government can do for the people, not Donald Trump saying, I alone can fix it, in all caps, kind of maniacal stuff. As I mentioned at the outset, though, large media networks love to exalt this fascism. And one example of it is look what Anna Paulina Luna, right-wing MAGA Republican in Congress, just posted. She was just given an honor by Time magazine. She's an election denier. She's as far right as you can go. She wears the AR-15 pins. She claimed Jewish heritage, but it was reported that, her grandpa or one of her grandparents was Nazi. She, has George Santos-like issues in her background, according to reporting by The Independent. She said that Hillary Clinton is like herpes while on Fox News. And she said, like herpes, it won't go away. She just has a bunch of horrific kind of Marjorie Taylor Greene-esque, Lauren Boebert-esque stuff. But here's what Time magazine did a profile on here. It says, most new members of Congress aim to spend their first term learning the ways of Capitol Hill. Anna Paulina Luna wants to change them. As the architect of the House GOP censure of California Democrat Adam Schiff, who led Donald Trump's first impeachment, the charismatic Florida freshman is on a mission to disrupt the governing class. And then she reposts that and goes, it's official. Time has named me one of their top 100 next for being a rising leader. Think about that. And think about what they're applauding her for. Leading an effort to censure a well-respected American lawyer, Adam Schiff, for his involvement in the impeachment of Donald Trump because Donald Trump engaged in an insurrection, because Donald Trump engaged in extortion of President Zelensky. That's why you're giving Anna Paulina Award, your Time magazine. Disruptive. No, that's called fascism. And I'm just sick and tired. I'll show you all these examples of large media networks that don't call Trump out the way we did here and just uplift Anna Paulina Luna like that. It's so critical that this community, you let other people know today, please, about this network. Let other people know to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because let's make sure we get bigger as fast as possible, then Time and all this other stuff, so that this audience and our voices are heard more than this ridiculous BS that I just read to you right there. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. One way you can support this network is by going to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Check that out. And if you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, it's free to subscribe to our YouTube. Have a great day.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.